Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live from our studios here at Kokomlemle. Is Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, we are live on Love 99.5 FM and affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions, including Amenuveve FM in Aflao, Jata FM in Karaga, Kaleo FM in Akachi, KTU Radio in Koforidua and Kanga FM in Jirapa. You can also download the My Joy Online app from Play Store and App Store to listen live around the world. In this edition, was she pregnant or ever got kidnapped? This afternoon, the word of a husband against that of the Regional Security Council chairman as controversy deepens over alleged discovery of a 29-year-old woman 1 week after she allegedly went missing.
She was pregnant for 9 months and she was kidnapped at Old John Saba Road.
From their preliminary investigation, they suspect that this whole story was fake and that the medical doctor was even looked at her, saying that Onyobia Onyinsa.
We'll hear from both the husband and the Regional Security Council chairman, plus an update from the community where neighbors are now wading into the controversy.
It's your report or check the alcohol.
The doctor who said that Peggy is not pregnant. Peggy has not given birth. We want to remove her from that doctor's hand.
We have details now. Greater Accra region is set to overtake the Ashanti region as the most populous region in the country, as the Ghana Statistical Service reveals that Ghana's provisional population after the 2021 Population and Housing Census is 30.8 million.
Greater Accra region has caught up with Ashanti region. Indeed, from the provisional figures, we are seeing Greater Accra region edging up as the most populous region marginally.
Details as the Population and Housing Census reveals 6.1% in population change between 2020, 2010 and 2021 census. Now, this afternoon, also more questions on why President Akufo-Addo has still refused to use Ghana's presidential jet while the country continues to incur costs of up to 10 million cedis, according to North-Tong MP. Meanwhile, the same jet transports Liberian President Opongwea.
I can assure you that we will pursue these two other recent trips.
ECOWAS Commission sets ambitious target to reduce road crashes by 50% in member states, describing it as a pandemic.
The reduction of road safety fatalities globally by 50% by 2030.
That's in our Drive Safe campaign. In sports,
Ex-Ghana international Felix Abuaje says Accra Hearts Volks next CAF preliminary round tie in the Champions League against Wydad Casablanca will be a tricky one. His analysis later on.
And later in showbiz, a legendary tribute for a legendary leader by a legendary musician.
We want you. We need you.
I have more of that special tribute from Amanziba to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. That and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. Thanks for choosing us. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. This afternoon, was she pregnant? Was she kidnapped? These are two key questions the entire country is struggling to answer right now. 29-year-old Josephine Simmons was reported missing by her husband last week. She was said to be pregnant at the time of her disappearance. Now, family sources then alleged days later that they had received a call from supposed kidnappers of Josephine who demanded a ransom for her release. Well, yesterday, a carpenter came up and said he had found her in Axim, 60 kilometers away from the location of her alleged disappearance. The tale of events has given the country a lot to think about, considering the disappearance of some 4 girls in Takoradi about 3 years ago. The girls were later found to have been killed by a man suspected to have kidnapped them. Well, Western Regional Minister Kwabena Okyere-Darko-Mensah says an initial probe by the National Investigations Bureau shows the story of the woman is false. This position has been challenged by the man who is said to have been impregnated that woman, which is the husband. We have all the details for you this afternoon, but first, a report capturing what we know so far.
Husband of the woman, Michael Simmons, says his wife stepped out for a brief walk in the neighborhood.
Going for a health walk. Her mother, according to her mother, she said she was feeling some abdominal pains and some feelings that she was going to deliver that same week. And so she took the card with her so that in case that if things are going rough, then she just take a taxi and then go to the hospital. So that he called me Midday hospital.
He says when the family noticed she was not showing up, they embarked on a frantic search visiting various hospitals. He insists his wife was 9 months pregnant.
She was pregnant for 9 months, and she was kidnapped at Old John Saba Road. When we noticed her absence, searched for her at various hospitals in Takoradi.
He claims to have even reported the matter to the police.
Yeah, the name of the CID that I gave to was Inspector Hakim.
His mother-in-law is said to have received a call from persons claiming to have kidnapped the woman, demanding a ransom.
My mother-in-law, came back with a cry saying some guys have called her to tell her that her daughter has been kidnapped. They have her daughter, so she should bring up some ransom for them to release her.
Josephine Simmons was found at Axim on Tuesday, 1 week after her disappearance, by a carpenter, Kwesinana.
When I got closer, she couldn't talk, but I could tell that she was mentally stable. She could only communicate through sign language. She later wrote on a paper that I should call her pastor. She was not willing to eat and was only crying. Through her sign language, she told me she was tied and gagged, and she became unconscious, but as she struggled with her kidnappers, she lost her baby.
You heard the carpenter who was supposed to have found Josephine Simmons in Axim ending that report. Now, the community has waded into this matter. We have our reporters live on the ground and take you there shortly. But before that, though, let's hear from the Western Regional Minister, Kwabena Otrida-Kumensa, who's been speaking on Takoradi-based Connect FM this morning.
Axim Hospital. The police for now are still there. The medical doctor and also action. Nama Odikan from their preliminary investigation, they suspect that this whole story was fake and that the medical doctor was even looked at her, saying that Onyobia Onyinsan is so. This thing has been bundled around for a very long time like that. So that is the immediate information we have now. But police phone or other police hospital.
That's the Western Regional Minister, Kwabena Otrida-Kumensa. Michael Simmons, who is the husband of the woman, insists his wife was pregnant and indeed went missing.
We don't know where those accusations or allegations are coming from, because neither the police nor the doctor have said anything to us. Neither of them has said anything concerning my wife's pregnancy to us. So we don't know where that information is coming from. I have brought a patient to your hospital. I said, this is the problem, and you find otherwise, you have to notify me first. Like, you can't just go public with the news that she's not pregnant. I have pictures of her, and if she comes to Takoradi too, from New Takoradi, Central Takoradi to Efiekuma, everybody can testify to my wife's pregnancy.
That's Michael Simmons. Natalia Kwanza is our correspondent on this beat for us. She joins us on the line with more. Natalia, so you've been interacting with the community residents also. What have they been telling you about Josephine Simmons, the woman at the center of this controversy?
Well, Vanessa, they are furious and they feel that the statement by the Western Regional Minister is unfortunate. They say that Josephine is pregnant. Some of them even told me that if Josephine passed by you, you would have to look at her twice because of how her belly looked. But let's listen to them.
We want to remove her from the Axim hospital. We don't trust the doctor. The doctor who said that pregnant is not pregnant. Pregnant has not given birth. We want to remove her from that doctor's hand.
But they are giving her medical attention.
It can be fake. The medical everything can be fake. The doctor who said that pregnant has not given birth, pregnant has not been pregnant, that doctor can be fake. Yep, for papa, assembly see Yako Benala, Osman Biamomba, assemblyman number, Ochana, Osman Biamomba, now they pay Otumaka, national security, why they do Doctor now, or assembly there, I follow what shall on Yabia, wow, on Yabia, where he's at. I want to name Ochana, I can say, yea.
Antinenta, Rupian, that's why the hospital.
Nti yako ebenya report or chede alcohol.
Oko benya. Woko benya. Dabi Rupian hospital.
Minim the pa, you say you get why you woman, so him. Then they are no pay, I have a roman, I bet to say. Yes, I bet to radio station via interview copy. Copy say, sister, you now are what I'm not in for. Open the back. Our finances, the same president, also send the time as switch or to me for Nanto, a China time, a China say. Now, Minister, I was a fighting man a year or Chromano. What was the radio station? Say, Gano or Yamuna or Yabodafu. Sasa a car. Sasa, not just a old movie.
So you had the relatives of Josephine Simmons there when my colleague Nathalia Kwansa interacted with them. Amongst others, they raising concerns about the Western Regional Minister Kwabena Dakumensa's position that she was not pregnant and that doubting her story so far. But Ina, two key questions: whether she was indeed pregnant and whether she was kidnapped. These are still questions lingering. You've been trying to find out this from the police. What did you find?
Well, the Western Regional Police Command is yet to comment on this. They said they are still on investigation. Until they are done, they wouldn't speak to this. But the fact still remained that indeed the husband had sent reports to the radio stations from the police to announce the missing of his wife on the 16th of September.
Okay, that's my colleague Nathalia Kwansa, our Western Regional Minister. We're still trying to find answers to this. We've been hearing from the Regional Minister as well as relatives on this issue about this pregnant woman and whether she was kidnapped or not. But I'll bring you back to Accra, where this afternoon the Ghana Statistical Service is revealing that the total population of Ghana is now 30.8 million. According to government statistician Professor Samuel Kobneni, this is data derived from the 2020 population and housing census conducted between the 27th of June to the 8th of August this year.
In the 2010 population and housing census, Greater Accra and Ashanti region collectively contained 35.3% of the persons that we had in the country. This has not significantly changed. In the 2021 population and housing census, we are seeing a marginal increase from the two regions with a current figure of 35.7. What this inherently means is that Greater Accra region has caught up with Ashanti region. Indeed, from the provisional figures, we are seeing Greater Accra region edging up as the most populous region marginally. We await to see what we're going to get from the final results to declare that Greater Accra has overtaken Ashanti region, and for that matter, it is the most populous region.
Well, my colleague Kweku Asante sat through the press conference, joins me on the line. Kweku, the Ghana Statistical Service have been explaining the data in terms of structures recorded and other census. Please tell us more. Hello, Kweku Asante.
Hello,
okay, so I'm asking that the Ghana Statistical Service have been explaining the data in terms of structures recorded under the census. Tell us more.
Right, so there are 10.7 million structures that were recorded under the 2021 population census. 80% of these structures had been completed, 20% were not complete. And according to this data, Greater Accra region has the highest number of structures, 2.1 million structures, while the Northeast region had the least, that is 132,000. They also went ahead to talk about the 8.4 million households that were captured under the census. This is an increase of 2.8 million from the previous census, and it's estimated that any average household in Ghana has at least 3.6 persons living within a household.
Ghana Statistical Service defined a structure as anything that is a building that is independent or separate or it's an enclosure would be at different levels of completion, and it's either movable or unmovable. So with that definition in mind, we put structures into different classifications, either based on their level of completion, what it is being used for, and also the type of structure that we have. So in terms of the completion of structures, we had 80% out of the 10.7 structures that were fully completed. Our headline message here is that as a country, we still have 20% of structures that are uncompleted. This saw significant changes across the 10 administrative regions.
Well, that's the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobneni. The head of our research desk, Raymond Nakwa, is here with me with more. Raymond, you've been studying that report. What are your observations?
So initially, I'm getting the impression that there are a little more 30,000 people in the Greater Accra region than the Ashanti region. And if you want to put it in perspective, since the 1970s, Ashanti region has been the most populous region. We waited to see what the final figures would actually indicate. But these two regions, Greater Accra and the Ashanti region, they are both almost twice the size of the third most populous region. That's the Eastern region, which has been in times past. In 1960, the Eastern region was the most populous region. Now, the Central region is now the fourth most populous region, following the splitting of the, if you check, because we have actually split Western, Born Alpha, and Northern, that's what's giving the Central region that particular edge, not just because it's been increasing in number of people in that particular region. Now, the four most populous regions make up over half of the total population. That's also an interesting dynamic to watch in there. The Alpha region is the least populous region. It was recently created, taking the place of the Upper West region. I'm sure we have always considered the Upper West as the least populous region over the period. In fact, since independence, until the time that we started having Upper West and Upper East in the 80s, clearly that has been the most populous, least populous region. Now, the disparities in the population size across the region have been the largest observed since 1960, when we conducted our first one. What does this really mean? Now, the most populous region in 1960 was the Eastern region. It was 4.6 times the size of the least populous region. Also, in 2010, Ashanti region was the most populous and was 6.81 times the size of the least region, the Upper West. Now, in this recent one, the two most populous regions, that's the Greater Accra and the Ashanti, are almost 10 times the size of the Ahafo region, showing the difference between how urbanization is driving people to the main centers of cities and taking them away from what used to be rural areas and rural centers anyway.
Thank you very much. That's the head of our research desk, Raymond Nakwa, with observations of that latest report from the Population and Housing Census as put out by the Ghana Statistical Service. Now, between May and September this year alone, the taxpayer has coughed up to 10 million cedis to fund the president's trips, including his recent one to the UN General Assembly in the United States. That's according to North Tongue MP Samuel Okujeto-Ablakwa, who's filed another urgent question in Parliament demanding full disclosure on cost of president's latest foreign travels, as he accuses President Akufo-Addo of using a luxurious jet costing 3.7 million cedis for his recent trip to the United States. So the question remains why the president is still not using the presidential jet when it has emerged that Liberian President George Oponria recently used it for the ECOWAS meeting. There's more in the following news desk report. It is really shocking, I must say, that the Ghanaian people can be treated with such presidential contempt when the dust is yet to settle on the Airbus AC J320 New Sky Bat scandal, now infamous for the ministerial acrobatics in Parliament. Words of North Tongue MP Samuel Okujeto-Ablakwa in the latest article on the president's recent trips. There is renewed public outreach as it emerges once again that Ghanaians will cough up another 3.7 million cedis to fund a private charter of a luxurious aircraft for the president and his team to travel to the United States to participate in the UN General Assembly. Already, Mr. Okujeto-Ablakwa has announced his intention to file another urgent question to demand full disclosure on how much the president's charter trip is depleting state resources.
Why is our president not using it to save money? 10 million Ghana cedis, hoping 10 million Ghana cedis for just 3 trips, in the space of less than 3 months. I can assure you that we will pursue these two other recent trips.
The presidency has, however, declined comment, saying the matter is an issue of national security. They also confirmed, however, that Liberia President George Weah used the country's presidential jet for the ECOWAS meeting here in Accra, granted based on a request made to the office of Ghana's president. An online video we have cited show the Falcon landing on the tarmac with the inscription Republic of Ghana, with Liberia President George Weah in white apparel stepping out of the presidential jet. When the ministers of Finance and Defense, Ken Oforiatta and Dominic Netiwo, appeared before Parliament on the cost and whether the presidential jet was fit for purpose when the matter came up earlier this year, this was their response.
Mr. Speaker, the President's domestic and international travels are matters to do with national security. The National Security Minister is really best placed, Mr. Speaker, to furnish this honorable House with the details needed.
When the president is traveling with more than 20 people, he will need more than just a Falcon. The president, in fact, has to go a day ahead because no president can shower in this aircraft. You cannot freshen up in this aircraft. So you cannot move from this aircraft straight into a meeting.
The question now remains whether it has become absolutely necessary to demand a national policy on presidential travels similar to what pertains in other jurisdictions. Will the National Security Ministry provide details on the presidential travels so far? It remains to be seen how it will all unfold when Parliament resumes sitting. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. This afternoon, we've been finding out whether she's pregnant or ever got kidnapped. Word of her husband against that of the Regional Security Council chairman as controversy deepens over alleged discovery of a 29-year-old woman 1 week after she allegedly went missing. Also, Greater Accra region set to overtake the Ashanti region as the most populous region in the country as the Ghana Statistical Service reviews that Ghana's provisional population after the 2021 population census is 30.8 million. When we return from the break, we have sport, and in our Drive Safe campaign, ECOWAS Commission sets ambitious target to reduce road crashes by 50% in member states, describing it as a pandemic.
The reduction of road safety fatalities globally by 50% by 2030, the 2030 deadline. And that is what we in ECOWAS, together with our member states, are also working towards.
And later in showbiz, a legendary tribute for a legendary leader by a legendary musician.
We want you, Kwame Nkrumah. We need you, Kwame Nkrumah. We want you, Kwame Nkrumah. We need you.
The boys are back, oh! The boys are back! Imagine inviting great footballers like Ronaldo, Messi, and Mbappe into your home. Imagine feeling the big mad temperament of football's fiercest rivals in your living room. Imagine enjoying the home ground advantage of witnessing the best of Serie A, La Liga, Premier League, UEFA Europa, and many more leagues all in English. Or stop imagining. Just get a GoTV decoder now at 89 Ghana cedis and upgrade to GoTV Max to turn your home into the home ground of great football. To purchase a new decoder, SMS GoTV to short code 1731. GoTV. Love it.
Drama from day one.
Many thanks for choosing us. We are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. It's time for sports. Nathaniel, what do we have?
Well, your pen reminds me of Accra Hearts of Oak, who are the subject of our story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ex-Ghana international Felix Abuaje is rating Hearts of Oak's upcoming clash with Moroccan giants Wydad Casablanca as a tricky one. Now, the Phobians will meet the Moroccan champions in the second preliminary round of the CAF Champions League qualifiers after beating CI Kamsa of Guinea last Saturday. Now, the Phobians managed to secure this victory after winning 2-0 against the Guinean side at the Accra Sports Stadium, and this was after a one-legged tie was ordered by CAF. Now, the ex-Ghana international, who is also someone who's played in the North African region, having won the CAF Champions League with Al Ahly of Egypt, is suggesting that this tie will be a very tough one. He spoke on the Prime Morning Show.
against Wada Casablanca will be the text for Accra House of Oak. I think playing against a North African country has been always tricky. Generally for the fact that you go and meet an opposition who plays like a European African style of play, which I think it's very, very unfortunate that we'll be playing home first. House of Oak will be playing home first, and second match will be in Wydad, Morocco, Casablanca, which I think playing an away second leg has always been very tricky if you don't win convincingly at home. And looking at the House of Oak, the first half was being a little bit jerky for them. Into Wydad, you cannot wait for the second half to be able to win 2-0 in that place, because the Arab clubs, they come with more strategical plans and try to frustrate you when they are away.
Well, a job well cut out for Accra Hearts of Oak, according to ex-Ghana international Felix Abuaji, who's also a CAF licensed A coach. That's it for your sport.
Thank you very much. It's time for our Drive Safe campaign.
Safe driving saves lives. Drive safe.
The ECOWAS Commission has set an ambitious target of reducing road crashes in member states by 50%. That's by 2030. The determination to achieve this goal follows a significant increase in road crashes in member states, with more than 6,000 lives lost on the average, according to the World Health Organization. The Commission now describes the situation as a pandemic. Chris Appiah is Principal Program Officer for Maritime and Transport Corridors Infrastructure Development at the ECOWAS Commission.
WHO's second decade of action, which spans from 2021 to 2030, envisages the reduction of road safety fatalities globally by 50% by the 2030 deadline. And that is what we in ECOWAS, together with our member states, are also working towards. So we have activities in the action plan that we've reviewed with the member states and some of our parts to implement in order to achieve this very ambitious target.
He also explains how the framework will be implemented among member states.
Once we present it in December and it's approved, there will be what we call a regional supplementary act on this, and that act automatically becomes binding in the member states, and they will have to take it and domesticate it. So if we are putting a cap on, let's say, the importation of vehicles, usually we will give a period within which member states will work towards attaining that agreed, destination in the near future. So we work with the countries, and we have regional or ECOWAS processes of domesticating these things in the country, so that eventually countries will align with the regional statutes or agreements that they are signatory to.
That's Chris Appiah. He's the Principal Program Officer for Maritime and Transport Corridors Infrastructure Department at the ECOWAS Commission. Well, President Akufo-Addo will later today address the ongoing UN General Assembly in New York in USA. He's expected to update the global community on how Ghana is holding its own despite the ravages of COVID, challenge the world to quicken recovery and the need to respond to other rising challenges. That will be live on the Joy News channel on The Pulse at 3:30 p.m. It's time for showbiz. Mapitso Sibidi.
How you doing,
the holiday is affecting me.
It's affecting your brain. But yesterday, as we know, was Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Day, and our Prime Morning team had a fantastic time with the legendary high life musician Amanziba, who had a special tribute for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
We want you, Kwame Nkrumah. We need you, Kwame Nkrumah. We want you, Kwame Nkrumah. We need you, Kwame Nkrumah. Who would speak for the voiceless? Who would fend for the defenseless? Who would feed the hungry?
Kwame Nkrumah. That's right. Let's go to Twitter quickly, because hashtag KaliJ at 500k is trending, and he's a Twitter influencer, and he has reached 500 100K followers, and a lot of people are celebrating with him because, you know, he was also part of the Fix the Country campaigners, the influencers. So it's really fantastic for him. Takrade is also trending because of what's happening there. Exim is also trending, and J. Cole is also trending because he remixed Drake's Pipe Down new song. So you want to check that out all on Twitter.
And also on myjoyonline.com, Takrade woman faked pregnancy and kidnapped regional minister. Also, we are tired of directionless leadership. Fix the Country protester. MMDC's appointment. There's no basis or justification for disturbances. Dan Boche and 12 arrested over violence at Tripoli after release of MMDC nominees list. That and more on myjoyonline.com. You'd want to read that for yourself. Living Word with Pastor Mensah Otabil is up next. How to grow your faith. You want to stay for that. I am Emefa Apau on behalf of the entire team. Many thanks for your company.
If home is where the heart is, then let's go home, shall we? Let's go where the entertainment is, where the passion is, where the laughter is, and sometimes even the tears